Hello, welcome to this video. This video is actually a continuation from my previous video where I showed you how to use Excel to figure out multiple internal rate of return issues. Okay, now let's first very quickly review what we were talking about in the last video, then I'm going to continue into this video. So in the last video, we have a hypothetical cash flow, and this cash flow is so-called a non-conventional cash flow because the direction of the cash flows changed by more than one time, okay, because it changed from negative cash flow to positive and then switched back to negative again. So given this kind of situation, we will, in theory, have more than one internal rate of returns, and we basically use the Excel function to figure out what are the internal rate of returns for the cash flow that we are talking about. Okay, now in this particular video, what I'm trying to do is to use Excel to find out what is the discount rate that can result in the highest NPV given this cash flow. Okay, because from this NPV profile, we see that first of all, it's a concave curve. So there's a highest point right here, but we just don't know what is that exact highest point. In other words, we don't know what is the exact discount rate that can make our the NPV of our cash flow to be at the maximum. Okay, so this video is just to try to solve this issue. Now, to solve this issue, we really need to use the solver feature in Excel. Okay, and if you are the first time to use solver, it may not have already loaded in your Excel. So you need to first load solver into Excel, and I will include a link under this YouTube video so that you can find out how to do that. Okay, because there's tons of resources online teaching you how to load solver onto your Excel. Okay, all right. So to use solver, so let me first open that solver so that you know what kind of things we are trying to do. Okay. So solver is a feature that helps you to set an objective for a particular cell, either to maximize it or minimize it, or set that the value of that cell to a particular value. And then you tell Excel, well, in order to reach that sort of objective, what kind of variable cells that I have, where Excel can change the values in those variable cells so that it can eventually help to solve this objective, which means to either maximize or minimize this particular cell, or just to find out, well, this is the value this cell is equal to given this bunch of values in the variable cells. Okay, so in other words, it's going to be, I want to set up a objective by changing the values in these particular cells. So in order to make this work, you really need to make sure that your objective cell and your changing variable cells are sort of connected by some kind of formulas. Okay, so in this particular example, we are basically trying to let Excel to find us a discount rate, okay, to result in a maximum NPV. Okay, so in other words, we want to, let's say, if we want to make this particular blank as the discount rate, where it can be changed because this is the changing variable cell, and this particular cell as the target cell, or say the objective cell, because this particular cell is the one that we want to have Excel to figure out what is the maximum NPV. Okay. With that being said, we need to first of all use some sort of formulas to link these two cells so that it can work. Now let's get started. Now suppose we start this cell with a discount rate of 0%, okay, because this is a cell that Excel will find some numbers for, so this cell does not need to have some sort of formula because this is literally the input cell. Okay, and for this output cell, basically we need to calculate what is the NPV given this particular discount rate. Okay, now this is an NPV function. Okay, and once again, the first parameter is the rate. Okay, so rate is let's say it's F36. Okay, and then values are going to be the cash flows. Okay, and remember from the last video I talked about that that cash flow has to be started with one period from today. Okay, because this is simply how the NPV function works in Excel. Okay, and then you close the parenthesis and make sure that you add the T0 cash flow back to this formula. Okay, now here we go. Given a zero discount rate, the NPV of this particular cash flow is $2, right? However, this is not what we want because we want to find out what is the discount rate that will result in the highest NPV. So here we go. We need to use solver now. Okay, so in solver, for this set objective, we need to tell Excel what is our objective. Okay, and obviously our objective is just to make sure this cell's value is being maximized. Okay, now we just tell Excel, okay, this is my objective, and we want it to be maximized. All right, so here, by changing variable cells are the cells that you let Excel to pick numbers for. Okay, and for this example, obviously this should be F36. Okay, now this is a quite a straightforward example, so we don't need to add any constraints. But when you are going to be doing something for real, very likely you're going to add some constraints in there so that Excel will have to only find the numbers that is subjected to those constraints to fill in those blanks. Okay, but for now, we just for simplicity purposes, we don't require any constraints. Now, just to hit the solve. All right, here we go. Excel found us a number, okay, or a result, and basically that result means at this particular discount rate, the NPV of this cash flow, okay, so the NPV for this cash flow is being maximized, and that maximized value is 0.19. Okay, and if we look at this graph, I think this should be pretty much the case, right? Because now we are looking at the maximized NPV and it should be somewhere here. And given this is 0, this is like a 0.5, and this should be somewhere around 0.2, right? I mean, the NPV. And also, this is the discount rate that makes the NPV being maximized. And this is about 14.78. And I think that's pretty much the case right here, right? Because this is the sort of the top point of this concave. So yeah, should be somewhere between 14 and 15. All right, that's all what I want to talk about in this video. Hope this helps, and I will see you next time.